last we heard from Urban Meyer was last night, and we played that soundbite on the show earlier saying that, the players are going to have to find it within themselves to show their leadership roles. It's really their team, which I think is kind of an interesting way of like, hey, you're in charge. I'm the CEO. I'll take care of this stuff, but you really have to, I'm giving you I'm treating you like the men that you want to be treated like. It's your job to find the reserve to overcome my mistake. It's essentially what it sounded like.
Sounds right.
And I'm sure that's not the opinion. That's not what he wants to come across as saying. But the issue is with Urban Meyer is right now is all the things that have happened with him that offer doubt that personally from this chair I was providing benefits on those doubts. When, he hired the Iowa strength coach who was kicked out of Iowa because of all the things that were reported from him, and then they hired him here in the NFL, and it's just like, this is corporate America, sir. Like, that's not going to fly, and he had to tell this guy, you're out. And then he hires Tim Tebow, and I was like, this is an interesting way to see what he's got, and it's also a way to show the guys in the I said this. Yeah. Show the guys in the locker room that, hey, if you do something for me, and that means I've got your back forever. If you show me what you can do and give me your all, I got your back. This is the brotherhood of men stuff. And Tebow was my guy from back in the day, and also he's a guy that I would love for everybody to follow his example on how to live life. And, that's the way I viewed it. Mm-hmm. And him saying we, viewed people's vaccination status around here and making cuts. And then the NFL will basically say, what'd you say? And him saying, everybody's Alabama around here, as Vic Fangio said that he said after Denver beat him, saying, boy, everyone's like Alabama around here. And I thought like these were all things of a CEO coach who kicked my alma mater's ass and made a ton of bones on that this is a guy who knows how to run a football team, and that's the way I viewed it. And then I saw that video on Friday night. Saw it on Saturday. And I'm like, huh. And now that video plus being 0-4 takes everything that I just said and it flips it, at least in my opinion. And a lot of people already thought that. You heard Mike Lombardi come on the show yesterday saying, what are you hiring Tim Tebow for? Like, to be the third tight end of the team, the guy's 32. That's a spot you're paying $1 million to a guy to do that. That's a rookie's role. Like, this is the way you have to build a roster in the NFL. Like, there's no alumni association in the NFL. That's the way he viewed it. Now everybody's viewing things differently because he's 0-4. Which makes this weekend pretty big. Which sets up the soundbite from today that hits on the subject matter for me that I saw and thought of when he and the video that came out changed a lot of people's opinions or confirmed them. The fact that he did not fly home with his team, and I've never heard of that before. Once again, when we were sending the videos around to each other, my first questions to you guys was, is this from now? How do we know that? Because does that mean that the coach of an 0-4 team did not fly back with his team after a loss? And the answer was, yes, it's recent. And yes, he did not fly back with his team. And this was the exchange today on this very subject, because to me, this is the fault line in everything. The rest of the stuff is personal, and you don't want your face front guy to have that video out there. And you also can't have that face front guy be your face front guy in the locker room telling everybody don't do that sort of stuff. But the ultimate is like not flying back with the team. Here's the question and answer.
I mean, you stood at that podium in Cincinnati and you said you had a hard-working team. Do you think that taking back on that consideration, that might not have been a good thing to do, to not fly back?
I thought at the time, now that I maybe thought it through, but I thought at the time this is a chance for everybody to clear their head, including myself, with my family located, where we were, to go spend a day or two with them and then get back. because I knew I wanted them to get out of Dodge too and clear their heads.
Well, now, what a misguided sense that is. And it would have been misguided even if he didn't go to his establishment in the video coming out.
Yeah, but we wouldn't have known.
I know we wouldn't have known, but you know who would have known? His team would have known.
Yeah.
And that, to me, amongst everything, because I'm sure Urban and I'm sure Jacksonville and their front office is thinking, enough talking about this. National media, enough. We get it. It's a big screw up. We get it. Like, why do you keep talking about it? I mean, this is the third time the subject matter's come up today because of the news cycle of, we talked about what we heard from last night, and now we're talking about what we're hearing from today. And the news cycle's going to end because unless we learn something more between now and Sunday, and it's all going to be about Sunday, as I said earlier in the show, what a big game this is to see how the players respond. But the reason why we're talking about this, twofold. One, Jacksonville hired the most high-profile college coach you could hire that was available or willing to come. Only one more high-profile and willing that would be not willing to come, but the only one more high-profile would be Nick Saban, honestly.
Yeah.
You hired one of the winningest college football coaches ever who's never done the NFL before, and you hooked him up with Trevor Lawrence, who's one of the most generationally talented quarterbacks to be drafted in a long time. So you're inviting a national spotlight to come in just by doing that alone to see how it's going to work. That's one of the season-long storyline arcs of the NFL season is how is Urban Meyer going to do in his first year? Well, 4 weeks in, now we're already talking about quite a bit. That's number one. But number two is the ultimate, boiling it all down, is Urban Meyer, after losing a football game, thought it would be best for everyone to take a break and he would not fly back with his team, which does not fly in the NFL. Mike Lombardi, who's been around forever, and Amy Trask, who's been associated with the league for a long time, both of them, interestingly enough, from the Raiders organization, saying that they've never heard of a coach not fly back with a team. That was my first reaction as well when this video came out. And boiling it all down is nobody in the Jacksonville organization, which is associated with the NFL, from Trent Baalke to the ownership, didn't know about it, but Trent Baalke, how do they not say, Urban, you can't do that? Not here. Let us help you. There are some things you don't know in the NFL. And from hiring that strength coach that you hired to going to Tim Tebow, we let you do all of this stuff. What you said about vaccination, all of that stuff. It's done differently here. Done differently. You can't do that. You got to fly home with the team and then take your time off. Go, whatever. But instead, the head coach of a team said, let's all clear our heads and come back. But then he wasn't on the plane. That's the ultimate problem. That a win this weekend can kind of get everyone back on the same page. Hopefully for them. Hopefully for them. But the ultimate question is, why wasn't he on that team playing? And who let him do all that? And then allowing that opportunity, having a coach who thought that it was, fine to just hang out in the manner in which he hung out. Knowing deep down he's got a locker room full of men who are going to say, well, you stuck around last time. Why can't I stick around? And you did this. Why can't I do that? I mean, all that together is something that Jacksonville, it's Humpty Dumpty that they're going to have to put back together again. And that's one of the season-long storyline arcs is how will Urban fare? Well, will he get the full arc right now is where we're at 4 games into the arc. We're still not at the apex of the arc going down. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.